Welcome back to East Coast DNA. Some of our returning fans may recognize the gentleman we have featured here today because we did actually feature them with some of our live footage during Music New Brunswick's Music Week last year when we were up in Moncton. So today we have Robert Thomas and the Sessionmen.
Ray Legere, Jon Arseneau.
And let's get into that right away. Obviously, the front and center we have the Robert Thomas. Yeah. So you're not Rob Thomas of Matchbox 20 fame, which I have been asked when I said I was going to do this.
Yeah,
interview.
and oftentimes we'll introduce it that way if there's no MC, we'll just say not Matchbox 20.
Yeah, perfect. And now the two gentlemen that you have with you are your regular backup performers, the Sessionmen.
Yep, and co-writers.
Yeah, we were just talking about that a few minutes ago before we started recording there too. So the Sessionmen is a clever name because you're session musicians.
Yeah.
So I'm a little guilty of just figuring that out now. I've been aware of you for a little over a year now, and I just now clued into what the Sessionmen actually meant. So for yourself, Robert, I know when I did a little bit of research into you, I found out very quickly that you have quite the extensive writing credits yourself, where you've done writing for others.
Well, hit and miss, Darcy. Long gaps between, but there's some names on the list, sure.
And so what age would you have been getting into music? Like, is this something that you've been doing your whole life?
It's funny you asked the question because probably with no MC, I'll introduce that tonight. First song, 1973. Well,
okay.
I was fiddling around with it, trying to learn an instrument, which I couldn't do. But I got going with my first band in 73, high school.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And so now, was that something that you were getting involved in because you wanted to, like, play guitar and meet ladies, or were you a singer?
Exactly right.
Yeah.
And I couldn't play guitar well enough to get it done on my own, so I rounded up some of the guys from school and this drop-dead gorgeous friend of the rhythm guitar player, Sally Mae Strine, and we went out and did it.
Amazing. So back in those days, is that New Brunswick back then?
No, L.A.
L.A.
We went up and down the coast, for about 3 years, 74, 5, 6, 7. And that's what got well, all of them went on to, either first call session work in LA and along the way it got us into advertising, writing jingles.
Oh, okay.
For smaller companies, then a company called Chiat Day. They did the Apple 1984 commercial. That was their first that one. So we did stuff for them, and that got us into, some of the finer recording studios in LA, and then you're bumping shoulders with the engineers, and then you get to play a song for somebody, and Kenny Rogers in the next studio, and a year later somebody says, you should check these, this guys can write songs. So it just, the advertising led to that, which led to some publishing, which led to the usual failed sniffs with record companies and whatnot. And that's how it all got started.
And I could see now from my limited experience networking in the music industry myself, I could see how those types of connections would really snowball, and you would end up with quite an extensive call list of people that you can reach out to.
I'm sure you know that. Like it's all relationships in music. I'm sure Ray would say and John would say the same. In terms of who you guys play with, or who you'll tour with, that kind of thing.
All connections. You'll do one session, and that person will recommend you for the next session. And I'm in a different boat, just performing. I was a session man with mostly violin and mandolin stuff, but getting into songwriting with Robert here, it's a lot of fun. Adding sort of a bluegrass or an acoustic music influence to his songs. So.
And now, for you yourself, how long have you been playing with Robert?
Since the start of COVID, I guess. We were kind of stuck. We chatted.
We did a disastrous tour in 1984.
That's right. I forgot about that. I came.
Recorded with him in '96.
I came back from the States. I went down to learn bluegrass music.
Okay.
From all my idols, and I basically came back home in 1990. And Robert was doing a recording, and he gave me a call, and or Clarence DeVoe did. He was the sort of producing, arranging the project, and got me in for some mandolin fiddle stuff. So that was probably 40 years ago now.
Wow.
Pretty much. Maybe 35. I don't want to look too old.
Yeah, for sure. And now, have you been on the East Coast yourself, or were you also down in L.A. way? Or?
I was in L.A. way, but after 2 years of college in electronics, I went down to first in New Hampshire and played with a bluegrass band called White Mountain Bluegrass, and then I went to Rutland, Vermont, and played with the Green Mountain Bluegrass, and that included Dan Tominski, who was the voice of George Clooney on the movie Brother, Where Art Thou?
Oh, cool.
So I played in a band with him for almost 3 years.
Amazing.
Yeah, but then I made my way to Nashville, and things were looking good, but then eventually I made my way back home.
Jon joined the band post-COVID. Although I've known Jon for a long time, and the funny thing is, it goes right back to high school. The guy that recorded us back in the 70s, Howard England, fabulous engineer, producer from LA. He's now over here as well. When he came over here, became fast friends with Jon's family. So, you know, and Howard would tell Jon about what we were doing, and on you come.
Yeah, I think it starts a little bit earlier than that. My brother used to work for Blockbuster Video.
Yeah.
And very close proximity to Robert's house, and Robert used to rent videos from my brother, and I don't know, at some point in time you talked music with him, and he found out that you had a record out the road, and then he brought the record home, and I was 12 years old, I think, and I fell in love with that record, and I learned the songs on it, and then or some of the songs I could play, and then kind of spent from the age of 12 till 19, 22 or so not being good enough to play in his band. and really,
you're good enough now, son, I'll tell you.
The truth is that I was wrapped up in the alternative scene, which was, you know, the Esquire Tavern with the Monoxides and Eric Strip, and my brother was a leader of a band called Honey Bucket at the time, and I was the drummer for it. And so I was in that scene, but in the closet I was listening to folk Americana and you know, the Bruce Springsteens, the Lyle Lovetts, and Robert Thomas was on that.
Real music.
So anyway, it was only really, and I covered Robert's music for a long time in the pub scene myself. I'd play a lot. I always would do a spiel at my live shows about local talent and how the local legends are out there, and local music is so good. And then you know, I'd do a Brendan Furlot song, or I'd do something like, and I always do a Robert Thomas song in those sets. And then I just would see you around town every now and then, and you know.
Yeah, you were just a kid, as we say.
I think just around COVID, I sent you a video of me playing, maybe Kick the Can or something, and I said we should get together and do something.
Yeah, because Kick the Can we'll do tonight is you know, to me, just the upbeat rhythm, like the
jovial.
Yeah, just the groove of it. I've heard a lot of people play, but not well. And Jon, I don't know why he sent the video, but he sends this thing over just off the phone, and it's just flowing. And that's, well, here's.
You can do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, it is funny too, like where there's just three of you.
Yeah.
And I believe you had an extra guest on stage with you when I seen you perform.
Yeah, Max
before.
Forbes, and he says he'll still come with us. He's a teacher.
Okay.
So it just Thursday, Sunday touring and teaching the next day. He just got too much, but he's still going to come out for the bigger shows close to home.
But you have somehow, it could be perhaps to the varied instrumentation that you have, but you somehow seem to have created a sound with just the 3 or 4 of you that sounds like a bigger, like, I've seen a lot of showcases with artists that are up there with 7 or 8 people supporting them on stage, and you do seem to have that same fuller sound with less people on stage. So I don't know if I would accredit that more to
I know Jon should speak to that, but I think before you do, I think it's that by alchemy we hit on exactly the right combination of instruments and the master players to play those parts for those songs. Yeah. So I think the energy of it comes because the instrumentation is well matched. But then, Jon, you have...
Yeah, I think like it comes down to the song, number one. And we're really careful about song selection. If there's a song that's not ready for the public's ear, we don't bring it out, and so then we carefully craft what's going on inside those things. The other thing too is that, and I'll speak for Ray on this, he'll probably add to it, is Ray and I are both very rhythmical players. Mm-hmm. We feel like a one-man band in us. So I'm playing the guitar like a drummer plays his drums, or a bass player. I'm thinking about the bass part, and I'm playing the melody and all that. And then Ray is the same. He's a very percussive player, whether he's on fiddle or he's on mandolin. So there's this inertia happening in the music. And we also both firmly believe that you keep the vocal way on top, almost uncomfortable, and together with that, it just works for some reason.
And to get the full range of the tones, with Jon on the guitar, he has a special way of setting up the guitar. He gets all the bass sounds and the bass runs and the guitar runs and the rhythm, and then you add some mandolin rhythm with some lead or fiddle rhythm with lead. So it's like Jon said we fill in on the parts that are missing with our instruments. So if the two of us playing the music, I think it's still pretty full. So that's what we strive to do.
Yeah, and then the neat thing of late, since Max couldn't come out, is Jon, aside from the drums and the guitar and the backing vocals, also plays keyboard. So we can still, because there's a lot in the repertoire of keyboard ballads, and it was sort of a shame to lose those, because it's just not quite the same on guitar, some songs. Mm-hmm. So we've got that going as well.
And now, obviously, music has been an important part of your life all along. So I can see why you've stuck with it, and you've had successes in a lot of different avenues. But one thing that's not specifically music related, what made you stay here and base your career out of New Brunswick, out of all places? Because you said you started down in LA with some of the early successes. So
well, I went back and forth, Darcy. Like I started there in high school and came over after that. Kind of took a few gap years after high school. Came to Dow.
Okay.
Because my mother's from actually Sunny Brae, just down the road from here. So I was back and forth, and then when she got ill and she couldn't stay in her house in Sunny Brae anymore, so she came to Moncton to be closer. So I thought, okay, I'll come up, and that was a good sort of 10-year run there, and it's just a better place to be. It's I love going back to LA, and there's just great friends and family and fellows to write with there, but everything. Well, for instance, would do a song, Judge and Jury Tonight, wrote it with Kevin Craig. Great guy, fabulous writer. He drives 100 miles to come in to Venice, to Venice Beach, to do the session, to sit down, and then other times I'm gone his way. So, and that's just common. That's the day. Yeah, so to be in a place like this where you can go around the corner or upstairs here and record, or work with people like Ray's, 20 minutes down the road, Jon the same, take that any day.
Yeah. Now, do you find too, and I'm biased because I spent my life on the East Coast of Canada, but do you find that in our region, and I mean more so the East Coast specifically than just a specific town or city, but do you find that like we have more, like a higher percentage, I think, of people that are skilled musicians around here? It seems like everyone knows somebody that's in a band.
I don't know, Darcy. I can't comment on percentages, but there is no shortage of huge talent, over here. That's why I was just saying to these guys today. I'm trying very hard to get them into McCabe's in Santa Monica, because I just know, and bring these two fellas in there, it'd just blow the doors off that place. There's great musicians in LA, but this is kind of different.
Well, and that was kind of a follow-up that I had too. Like, I'm very aware of different musical stylings, like that we have within our region too. Like Cape Breton has its own sound, and Halifax has its own sound. Like genre-wise, there's a lot of bleed over between all of that, but we're a little unique down here, and I'm curious how that translates between locals listening to Robert Thomas and the Sessionmen versus what you might get for traction in the United States.
Well, just for reasons of cost and visas and stuff, I probably shouldn't say this publicly because this is going on the internet, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'll go down to L.A. and hook up with Kevin Craig or Steve Strine, and we'll just do the thing because it's just, to bring everybody for 2-3 shows or something. So I can comment on that, how it goes in L.A. or we've done London, we've done some stuff in Austria, just 2 of us.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's as anywhere near as good a representation of the songs, but it goes over great.
That's good.
It's because this is not like, and that's sort of the thing in trying to define what we do. There's no 2 songs the same or same. Would that be fair to say?
Although you came up with a term today, I forget what it was.
No 2 grooves the same. All right. Canadian. That's what we do. Canadian.
We gotta start coining that. Forget about this Americana.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing because it just so happens that this record is Michelin. It's Spring Hill Mine. It's Kick the Can, Halifax. It's so without really a conscious forethought. I guess it's and it's the river runs through East River.
Yeah.
It's a Canadian record. So I guess that's what we do. It's that just honestly talking about the times and experiences that I've had, and Ray and John put that to music. It's this time around. It's just very local. Yeah. So Canadian. That's what we do. Good. I like that.
And speaking of the new album, and speaking of Canadiana, is that what we're calling it?
Yeah.
So I did see too, and you were quick to mention the producer for your new material as well, who does have a lot of strong East Coast ties and celebrated legacy family as far as the Canadian music scene as well. So maybe you're probably best to talk about it.
Well, it's Catherine MacLellan who we're talking about, and I was in Germany with Kevin, and just going out for a jog in the morning, put my headphones on, and on the random thing, up comes her stuff, and I knew her music, but sort of when music catches you out of the blue like that, when you weren't expecting it, so it was just, this is gorgeous, and then the sound, the presence of the whole thing was just terrific, and I just wanted to try to get that feel on this. So it was through Erin Costello.
Yes,
was at the showcase that you filmed, and she loved it. So I said, would you know Catherine MacLellan? Because I figured she would know everybody.
Yeah.
So she gave me the private number, and then I emailed over and pitched it to her, and then she sort of studied her stuff and said, "Yeah, this is cool."
That's amazing. I love that worked out that way.
And the thing that's really ironic is that my mother was a huge music fan, and Don Messer, of course, but it was a Sing-Along Jubilee. Gene MacLellan was on that. She was a huge Gene MacLellan fan. And of course, those songs were huge when I was kind of growing up, Put Your Hand in the Hand of the Man. So, my mother would roll over in her grave that I was doing an album with Catherine MacLellan because she's just such a huge fan of her dad.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's neat. It's neat. I'm very pleased with that.
It's a full circle thing.
It really is. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And then obviously where I do music journalism, anything that's legacy based in my region, I really latch onto that. It's nice to have those historical things happen where it's being passed on generation to generation. And it sounds like you're able to kind of fit into that fold there yourself too. Yeah. So I am curious, in working with Catherine over the last mostly almost a year.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Now. So you're at the point now that you have a single.
First one came out today. A River Runs Through. Digital release.
Yeah, on all platforms.
On all platforms.
Spotify.
Amazing. And now it might be harder for some fans to get, but I did see something sitting down on the merch table before I came up to record as well. Yeah. So is that CDs that I see down there?
We're still pressing CDs. Yeah. And we were at Celtic Colors, and the band after us had a really good line on that. And the guy said, get the CDs, and if you don't have a CD player, you can use it as an ice scraper on your car.
Yeah.
So I want to mention that. So then we got the CD single for River Runs Through is down there, and the album and the other singles and stuff from the last record.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And now, is that on the physical media side? Is that something that you try to still have some kind of physical component out there so people can?
Yeah, we do. Although
around
John was
with it?
saying today, like, don't press too many.
Yeah.
I think like the audio files are sent to the media, right?
Yeah.
So some of the there are people that don't want the compression from a streamed music service or anything
Mm-hmm.
like that. So the audio files will have their their Macintosh amplifiers at home with their big speaker systems, and they'll want a CD or a record maybe. But this day and age for a music group to print a whole bunch of copies is
We're old. We're,
yeah.
we're old souls. Old souls.
You are, yeah.
Well, the thing is, our audience is probably 40 plus.
Sure. Yeah.
So, they
You're
still have.
targeting a specific
However, Ivan, who played the dobro on the song,
yeah.
gave me, like, when I was leaving his studio when we did the banjo for it, he gave me like 4 or 5 of his CDs.
Okay.
So I'm getting in the car. I got no CD player, and then I get home. I have no CD player. So you're right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
didn't ask me for 4 or 5 of my CDs.
I didn't ask for these. They were given to me.
Okay.
They were parting gifts.
That's why we have a value village in every community.
That's
in Rankins too.
That's pawn shops. Pawn shops don't even deal with CDs.
Yeah, you can drop your CD player off at Value Village, and then you can go back a couple months later to buy one because you realize you actually shouldn't have dropped it off. So, yeah, I definitely I think I've picked up a couple over the years, and my younger companion that's sitting off to the side here today, she has her own selection of audio cassette players and CD players. It hasn't quite got into the vinyl yet, but it does seem like the younger generations are picking up antiquated technology and seem to be liking it. So hopefully there's a market in there in the future for musicians to keep making a few extra bucks, because I know being out on the road is definitely where the money's coming from for most people these days, but it's not the easiest way to make a buck either, because it does have a lot of wear and tear when you're doing back to back.
Yeah.
But even with that said, you guys just started a tour, so you were out last night.
Yep.
You're here in my hometown in Glasgow tonight. We're in the Shoebox Studio area right now, above the Shoebox Cantina where you're performing tonight. But where else will you be touring?
We're in Moncton tomorrow night, and then we've sort of had to do, because I wasn't sure when the record was going to get done, so I pushed out our first anchor date to May 8th in Minneapolis. I know we're at Hughes Room in Toronto in end of April to line up with that, and then we're just going to fill in everything between now and May 8th.
So we can look for some more East Coast dates pop up.
Yeah, no, we'll be at the Carlton. I think the 10th of January.
Oh, amazing!
And then we'll be at the Empress sometime. So yeah, but for sure the Carltons.
The Carlton, I'll have to keep on that date as well, because I know I much like yourself, I do listen to a lot of alternative bands, and I'm into that. But where I have a diverse range of music to listen to, I do like to go to the Carlton for like the sitting room experience, just like a listening room. It is nice. It
used to be a pickup bar, Darcy.
Oh yeah,
yeah. When I was at Dell, it was the place to go.
Amazing. Yeah. So is that why you're booked in there? Did
Absolutely.
You realize
I have every time I go, I have flashbacks. 2 or 3.
That's going to be fun. And so actually, there's a quick little question for you, and I do have another interview with somebody from that area that may know the answer for me. But the downtown area in Halifax for the bar scene, where like Economy Shoe Shop is, that area. The building, if you look up a floor, there's a sculpture coming out of one of those buildings with a woman hanging out of it. Have you ever seen that?
I don't think I've ever noticed that.
I think that's coming back to me.
Right down from the Carlton. I've been able to trace it back to at least people referencing it in the mid-90s, but I feel like it could be older than that.
So I don't remember it clearly.
Yeah.
We'll look when we're there, though.
Yep.
Yeah, that's something for you to. So it's January that you're coming back and playing there.
Yeah.
So I will work on researching what that is between now and January.
And then meet us there.
Yeah.
I'll meet you there, and we'll get.
And I'll hook you up with someone at the bar.
There you go. Even better. I like it.
I know all the techniques from the 90s, all the things to say.
Well, I'm a single man, so I'm definitely going to have to get
some
pointers from you there as well.
Ray and I are always looking for our next meal. They have an awesome kale Caesar salad there too.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh,
Yep, they do.
great food.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. Yeah, that's definitely becoming one of my favorite spots to check out when I'm in that area anyway. And so, what's next outside of the touring? Then the album's going to be a spring release then?
Nope, it comes out right then, 6th or 10th of January.
Okay.
What's next, Darcy, is a momentous undertaking.
Yeah,
it is a momentous undertaking. Filmmaker called me up. Could we use one of my songs in her movie? So I've been at this a long time. So I checked out her stuff before I returned the call.
Yeah,
it was very good. Award winner, at these small movie festivals and stuff. So I thought to myself, well, she said, well, how much can we pay you for that? And I said, well, if you'll do the music video for us, we'll call it square. So we're doing a full-on kind of 4-minute movie about this, the way we roll. The second song is about two crazies driving a stolen Mustang somewhere through rural Texas, and they get lit up from behind. And rather than pull over, they decide to just outrun this guy, and that's what the song's about. And then they run out of gas at the end. So
that sounds like exciting fuel for.
So we'll have these boys in the Brother Where Art Thou horizontal striped prison uniforms playing in their cells at the Dorchester jail, the original Dorchester jail. And then we got a Mustang. So
I
look for that. It'll be in October.
I'm excited to see that when it comes out for sure.
It'll either be a bust or it'll be really, really good.
Either way, make sure that you send me a little note, a heads up that it's coming out. We'll share it through the channels too.
Sweet.
So anyone watching this can get a little heads up that it's out there. It definitely
it's a catchy tune. Wrote it with John. Yep.
Amazing. And I do like the idea of the kind of trade off of services, because I'm a big do it yourself guy. If you have the bucks, it's nice to pay to get something done the right way for sure. And no knock, the professionals that are out there that I've met, like everyone around here seems to be doing like top notch work.
Yeah.
But when you can do it yourself, it's amazing. And if you have a service that you could trade off with someone else, it's nice to save a few bucks on the side for sure.
Absolutely.
And you're not sacrificing quality at all, because you're dealing with people that you know have good quality, and you're doing exchange of quality for quality. So that's always nice to see too.
Yeah.
Definitely helps out on my end. There's definitely the traveling around. You don't get too far, as I'm sure as traveling musicians, you don't get too far without leaning on some of those connections you make out there. There maybe a couch to crash on, or as you said, John, there a bite to eat somewhere.
That's right.
Yeah, definitely you got to call in those favors when you can. So if you're going to be doing a lot of stuff in the 2025 year, do you plan on slowing down around the holidays a little bit to rest up for it, or do you have some?
Well, I haven't sprung this on Ray yet, but I was talking to John about it. We have a lovely original Christmas tune.
Okay.
That I was hoping to release as well. We'd have to record it, at John or Ray's, and maybe would get to that in October.
But now I did not know that, right? That was not a planned question. I just.
Well,
but I'm there. He knows I'm there.
Yeah. You know the tune, because I'm thinking, we got all these great people working behind us on this record, and I thought, well, geez, throw up a Christmas tune. That's a good tune as well.
From the outside looking in, I'm thinking there's a perfect gap there to throw out a Christmas single. And
I had the same thought.
Yeah, we the East Coast DNA podcast featured 12 different artists that each had new Christmas releases last year. And that was my break. So I know what it's like as a creative. A break's not really a break. It's just an opportunity to do something new.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm excited to see what you guys have come. The music video sounds awesome. I've heard the new single. I can't wait to hear the full album. And hopefully I will get to catch you at the Carlton there in January as well.
Well, we'll stay in touch.
Mark that down on the calendar as soon as I get out of here today. And for people that are new to you as well, I'm thinking we can play off with one of your songs.
Sure.
The new single probably is a good fit.
Yeah.
So is there anything that you would like to say specifically as an introduction about what this song means, or maybe some of the creative process behind it?
Yeah, and the marketing people asked me that very question, so I have not a pat answer, but I've thought about it. I'm a huge Johnny Cash fan. My parents were playing his music like at us in the back seat on these long drives, for hours and hours. So I know all the words just from a young age. And I kind of lost him in his middle portion of his career, and I came back to him with the American recordings.
Yes.
I just thought that was the best that he ever performed. And what I noticed, and he was always a spiritual guy, and what I noticed with those recordings, there was a lot of pondering about death and dying, and not that way, but just time short, faith, that kind of thing. And I was probably in my 50s then, and now I'm in my 60s, and I see what's going on. I saw what's going on, like you do. I'm not, my mother was a very religious person. I'm not. Don't go to church. Don't think about it. But crossing 60, 63, you start thinking, there's not a lot of time left. So you do you start to hope that maybe, there's a God out there or something. And I find for whatever reason, I do have those kind of thoughts when standing by moving water. You just, so I have a cabin down in the Waterford Valley area in New Brunswick. And it's just a beautiful spot, that valley. So I had the lyric, "A river runs through this hallowed ground, southerly homeward bound," for a long time. I couldn't finish it. What else to say? And then I took it to Ray, and that's the neat thing about co-writing is I was stuck. But when Ray put, as usual, his beautiful guitar parts to it, then I had a palette to finish it, to come out with, you're thinking about your life past, my boys growing up, and then there's the chorus comes in about not blatantly, "Oh my God, I hope there's a God." Just I wonder if there is. Hope so. Just kind of leave it to you, because I don't know myself. So it's just a reflection on past times in a beautiful spot, some thought about what's to come, and then that spiritual thought as well. That's what it's about.
I love it.
Yeah.
And now, before we do play off, I should probably ask you as well, where should people follow you online so they can keep up to date with the album release and new tour dates?
Correct me if I do this wrong, John. So the usual Instagram, Facebook, not so much on Twitter. The website and the handle there is RT_Sessionmen for the socials. And the website's Robert Thomas and the Sessionmen.com, no spaces. Brilliant thinking.
And I did notice that your website is actually like up to date.
Yes.
I would say there's no knock at anyone that doesn't have a website up to date. The world's crazy. We move fast, but I'd say maybe half of the people I interview are up to date.
Tighten your shoestrings. Let's get that done.
Yeah.
You do a good job of that.
Yeah.
I'm going to start sending you a list of the ones that don't. You just fire off emails to them.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So there's the website, and then YouTube, I forgot them. Same thing, RT. Well, no, YouTube, you can just search it, Robert Thomas and Session. Okay. All the usual places.
And we'll put links in the description below.
Yeah, thanks, Darcy. Yeah, thanks.
Show notes there as well for people. And definitely keep me in mind in the future when you're traveling through like you did today. And if I happen to get back out New Brunswick way, I'll look you guys up as well, see if you're in town when I'm around.
Please do. As I said to you before, really thank you for the video you shot. I put that in about 5 showcase things as soon as you sent it.
Amazing.
Really
I did have an excellent opportunity. For anyone that's watching this right now that doesn't know what we're talking about, if you go out and look, there's a playlist on our YouTube channel that is showcases that I captured in New Brunswick last November. I had a wicked time up there. It was just an excellent opportunity. I just happened to be in the right place at the right time with the right equipment to do what I needed to do for those videos specifically. And I was really happy with the way they turned out, and everyone up there was great. So I do plan on getting back up that way, hopefully in the near future. I do know that their own music week's coming back up again soon. So maybe even in the next few weeks, we'll wait and see. Right. But thank you guys for your time. Thanks for staying in contact.
Thanks for doing it.
And let me know when the video's out so I can share that with people as well.
All right.
And I'm thinking January we're going to Halifax, Charles.
Well, the new video's out. The first single one's out. Stay tuned October for this
Perfect. So
Oscar-worthy thing.
Anyone that's liking this song as we play out, if you stay to the very end of the song, I'll have a link right to your video for it as well.
All right. Super.
Perfect. All right. Thanks again,
Thanks,
guys.
Darcy.
And quick thanks out to Shoebox Cantina and Shoebox Studios as well. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
A river runs through this hallowed ground, southerly, homeward bound, under autumn leaves in a sky so blue. From the hand of God, a river runs through. My two boys are now grown men, and we will not pass this way again. Time is short and the memories dear, and the river flows away from here. Take my hand, show me the way, carry me home, free the way. Take my hand and be my guide, carry me home from the riverside. Stand alone at the water's edge, and a reverie lingers in my head. Gabriel's horn softly blows, and at my feet the river flows. Take my hand, show me the way, carry me home, free the way. Take my hand, be my guide, carry me home from the riverside. Take my hand.